confidence that after the age of 30, you hit this wall, many women, where you're helping everybody else, your spouse, your significant other, your children, your colleagues, the world, and then somehow you forget yourself in the process. You're like, who am I? I don't even know my identity. I need to like reinvent myself. And you're kind of going through all of that. But, life just kind of took us in different directions, and she got pulled into different business things. I got pulled into other things. So we split off, and then, but I knew that I wanted to keep podcasting because it means so much to me to have a platform for people to tell their stories. And so Born Unbreakable was the opportunity for me to develop my own brand, which was really exciting because I think we go through evolutions as people. And it was great for me because, to your very point, is we all go through things. And I think when you grow, the best way to pay things forward is to share and to create a space that helps other people that have gone through things that you have. And so the tagline of my brand is be unapologetically you, because I've learned that we're always going to be taught by others the way the world thinks that things should be done, right? There's these lines that you color within. If you do A, you will get B. And there is a formulaic way of living that's very linear. That it's not, it works. You go to school, you get taught stuff, you follow the rules. But human beings are far more dynamic than that. I think we realize with maturity, with experience, that coloring outside the lines is okay. Maybe going against the grain and doing things that are a little bit different is okay. And so my message to people is to be the best version of who you believe. And we have great influences. But once you take ownership and accountability for who you are, then the best things come. The best things, and people will gravitate to you for who you are, for being genuine. And that's what I think is important for us to do, is to embrace our commonalities, but to also embrace the differences that we have too.
It's a good point. And my daughter, she's started back at school, obviously after COVID, and she's a great pupil, but I think sometimes she is ahead of the class maybe, or just on a different wavelength sometimes. And she was going, and she helped me do a job yesterday, and she said, if I help you do the job, can I have tomorrow off school? I said, no, you've had loads of time off school. Because I said, I'll pay her. She said, I don't want paying, just let me have school. And I said, no way. And she kept it up. I went, no way. So last night she sent me a YouTube video. And it's about talking about school and how, it hasn't evolved for hundreds of years. And there's something to be said. I didn't tell her this, but it's true that, you should learn this way and get these results and do this and do that. And I think the world's evolved now. And like you say, okay, I might not want to be in school because I don't enjoy being social, or I don't enjoy this lesson. Everybody reacts differently. I've had people on here that are entrepreneurs and they hated school, but just because they didn't like to learn in that environment. So I think the world's definitely changing to let people be more themselves. Now, I'm not saying be bad
right.
kids,
Don't
but
be,
I think there's a lot of kids,
bad person.
I just think there's a lot of kids that don't don't enjoy school, not because they're bad or they don't want to be there. It's just some people are doers, some people are safe. Everybody's different, aren't they? Do you recognize that?
Oh, big time. And I think that it's a beautiful process though, because you start to appreciate why there's systematic things like school, right?
Yeah.
To give us a basic sense of things that all help us to understand the world from a certain lens. I think that interestingly enough, I think the most school that happens is outside of the classroom. Because real life stuff, there's the theoretical, there's things that you read about in a book. It's not real to you until it's a part of your life. And I think that's what life experiences teach us. And that's why there's a lot of people, some of the most successful people we see that are like, I dropped out of school. I'm certainly not suggesting that, people. So don't take this podcast and say, I'm quitting. I'm dropping out of school.
Get out if you can get out.
Right. But it's because there's that sensation of following, your heart, or that tells you something that is not always that systematic, way of thinking. Because I mean, look at the shows that we have today. Like Shark Tank is a big show where people go on and they invent different things and they get investors to, help pay for their ideas. The entrepreneurial spirit is thriving. I mean, you brought up YouTube. There's kids today that are younger than 10 years old making a ton of money as a YouTuber. That's a job. Like people could, I mean, not everybody could have that job, but some people do have that job.
Yeah.
That didn't exist before, but you're making money on
and the thing is as well with this YouTube phenomenon is, God, that's a big word to say today at 5:05, 5:45. It's people don't realize, you'll see this 18-year-old is a millionaire, and he's been putting out videos for the last 6-7 years. He edits them. He works hard on them. He goes to school, he finishes school, he comes home, so a lot of them, they haven't got where they have overnight. They've put a lot of work in to get, and I think people need to realize that is now a skill. It's like, it is a job. And I think some people are like, oh, it's YouTube. Well, these kids, they know what they're doing. They're catching, they know what video to put out there and how to catch an audience. So it is a skill, isn't it?
It is a skill. And there's a lot of people that use YouTube to market their services because it's a how-to guide on a video format. They teach things. You watch tutorials on all kinds of different things, everything from cooking to beauty to fixing a piece of technology. It's that people go there just as much as they, go to Google.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, it's like with the podcast, I didn't read a book on how to set a microphone up or how to build.
That would have been a nightmare.
Just get on YouTube. I remember, I'm old enough to remember when we used to have to go to a library and find a book and read a book. Yeah. People don't realize how lucky they are now. You just tap in a couple of search words. Oh my God,
are you kidding? You could listen to all the books now. Can you know how much faster college would have been if I could have done that? Oh my gosh.
I know.
Seriously, I sat in the library and flipped through pages. Nobody does that anymore.
I know, it's mad, isn't it?
But, it's even starting a podcast. You and I both know. I didn't know an earthly clue when I started a podcast what that actually entailed. I had to do the research and talk to people and figure a bunch of things out and get a podcast manager and do all this stuff. And, but resources now are at our fingertips to where you pretty much can do anything you want to do.
Yeah.
Resources are abundant as far as being able to at least find. Now, what you do with it once you get the information is up to you. I think execution is important, but the information is out there.
Yeah,
to pretty much become anything.
Yeah, definitely. So where's the future then, Des? What's on the horizon? I guess a lady like you has a lot of things planned out. What's the next thing for you?
I think the next thing I'm excited about is to start building a couple of masterminds.
Oh, right.
Programs that have will help accelerate people's experiences in life. One of the inspirations that I've had is I'm on the board for this organization, for this nonprofit that my friend has called #ICanHelp. They actually, I think, recently changed the name officially to Digital for Good. And it's really about using the power of social media for good instead of bad, because obviously, you know, we know it can go in a bad direction. But through that process, I've worked with a lot of young people. So, just about to go to college. So I think, you know, I'd like to build a program for 18 to 24-year-olds, because I wish this is something I had. I was fortunate. I did have guidance. I did have mentors. I went to school and did all of that. But something where when you're transitioning into such a big chapter of your life, there's actually in community, the process of embracing what it looks like to invest in yourself. You know, I remember when I was young, and I'm sure you do too, is like when you first get your hands on some money, you spend it on stupid shit, right? Like if you're a girl, you're like buying, you buy like handbags. If you're a guy, you know, you want to buy cars or whatever it is people want to buy. And, and then when there's things that you can invest in, like personal development, it's like, oh, that, like, why would I do that?
I know, what a waste. You know,
what do you get out of it? Is there like a shiny object, like a tangible thing that you can touch that you get out of it? But what I've found is that the more I move my way through the world, the more I see that fulfillment comes from within, not from outside. It's weird, right? Because when you're through your younger years, you acquire more crap because you think that will make you happy, you know, whether it's you're fortunate enough to like buy a house, or, you know, if it's a car, or maybe it's just a bunch of stuff. And then you get the stuff and then you're still chasing after happiness. And so you realize that it isn't this, it's an intangible. It's not an object. You know, it's not this thing that you touch and you acquire so much of. It's your character, you know, it's the ability of impact and value that you bring to the world. It's bigger stuff, right?
I think it's a process you got to go through, though. When you're younger, and I mean, I'm the last person. Yesterday, I went to a market and brought back a baby Yoda about this size. But that's just a little now. And my wife went mad. But I do understand what you're saying. But I do think it's a process of when you're younger, you're invincible. You don't need to worry about anything. You've got money, you'll spend it. And I think you've got, you know, you should have fun. But like you say, it's good if you've got a mentor or a coach there to say, you know, also think about these other things and get that thought process. Whereas some of us, I mean, I was terrible. I left school and just didn't care about it.
Like, bye, see ya, moving on.
And then 10 years is gone. What happened?
Yeah. You know, so I would love to put, you know, a few different programs together. That's one of them, helping young people as they're transitioning to, I'm certified as in change management, and I love the process of helping people through change. Because it sucks. Like even when you're an expert in it, it doesn't make you like it any better. That's the thing about it, right? Like it's funny, like you'll hear somebody who's like an expert in dating, hate dating. Like it's just how it is. Just because you study something a lot doesn't mean you love it. It just means you know a lot about it. And so that's the thing about change is I love that process, you know, of helping people understand that it's just inevitable. It's inevitable. Whether it's good or bad, like when you had kids, right? Like hopefully you like your kids. Do you kind of like them? On some days, maybe some certain hours, but you know, there's certain things like that where it's like, it's a positive change, but it's a change nonetheless. So there's things that you go through during that process where you're like, what the hell was I thinking? Is this really happening? Oh my gosh. You have these, oh shit moments, you know, whether like, you know, you see these videos of people where they're like, I quit my job today, you know, mic drop. It's this big old thing. And they're like, yeah. And then they're like, oh shit, I quit my job today. Like, what the fuck am I going to do now?
Don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone. You're like smiling. You're like, yeah, smashed it. Yeah. And then you go home and you're crying in the corner.
Yeah. Okay, like, if I grovel, can I get it back? Like, I don't know. But I think life is messy.
Mm.
It's this canvas that's like all just a bunch of stuff all over the place. And I think that, if I can help people with my programs to get out of this mindset of perfection,
Yeah.
it has to look a certain way.
Yeah.
I just think that people can appreciate things a little bit differently when they
Yeah.
know that they can kind of go through things in a way that works for them.
I think that's a great point about change, because I've always been a big advocate of change, because I think, yes, it's painful, it's uncomfortable sometimes, but you come out the other side so much richer. And I think the world, I keep saying this, but the world is changing, because years ago, especially old school people, they're like, oh, I like this, I like to have me fag at 9 o'clock in the morning, and my husband goes to work and he comes home at 4 and the dinner's on the table. Yes. And then one day he comes home and there's no dinner. He's like, what the fuck's going on here?
This
and she's gone, I'm leaving you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but how many times do people get hit in the face with their partner that they've been with forever saying like, I'm not happy anymore.
Yeah. And
I'm out.
Because you're not changing, you're getting stuck into a routine. It's true.
Right? I mean, but it's those curveballs, like I said, that it hits you, and it's really shitty when it happens, at least for the things that you don't anticipate like that. But then you wake up, you get out of autopilot. Autopilot is so easy.
Yeah.
Because you're not thinking. You wake up, like you said, you're like, hold on, my morning coffee, and or like, it's like even the feeling of, if you're somebody who has a consistent routine and you like do your coffee every morning or your same breakfast, and you open the fridge or the pantry or the cabinet and that thing isn't there, you're totally messed up. You're all thrown off. Like, well, what am I going to eat and drink then? Yeah. And there's other options.
Yeah.
There's available.
There's a friend of mine, I'm not going to say his name, and
he knows who he is.
I'll phone him up and I'll say, oh, I've just got these tickets to this football match. It's it's amazing. The only problem is, it's tomorrow at 2:00. I go, oh, that's when I do the shopping. And you're like, what?
I love it.
Yourself, man.
That's a routine. Some people cannot break their routine.
Yeah.
They have, when they shop, when they eat, when they have social time. I mean, it's pretty.
Yeah.
Change is hard for those people in particular.
It is. But I'll push. I'll push now and again. And
you keep offering those football.
Oh, I tell you, I don't stop. He will be mine.
That's right.
So tell us a bit about advice. So the best bit of advice you've had, Des, it can be to yourself or what you give out to others. Tell us a bit what that would be.
Follow your instincts. Follow your gut. I think, I guess it kind of goes back to some of what I've been saying, which is a lot of times we make a plan. I think plans are great. It gives us a sense of direction. It gives us a sense of where we're headed. But sometimes we need to give ourselves permission to take a different path. Maybe on your way to Yellowstone, you saw some other park that was interesting, or some other little, scenic route that you wanted to take. And life is a bunch of scenic routes, and it's okay to decide that you want to go down a different path. And I think just following your instincts when those moments happen goes a long way, to say that I'm the owner of my destiny, and I can choose to change my mind, and and not to beat yourself up if you decide to do that. Maybe things work out perfectly and you get 98% going down the path that you planned, and it's exactly like how you mapped it out. But I just think that a lot of times it's not exactly that black and white.
Yeah, it's true. And if you get people that say, you know, everything I've planned has worked out perfectly, they're liars.